Hello, everyone. I'm Daniel, and I'm with SuperFang99, and we're going to talk about A Phantom of Truth. We're starting with the back half of the Path to Carcosa. First off, how's it going, SuperFang99? What's going on in your Arkham life right now?
Going good. Let's see. Currently filming Return to the Circle Undone playthrough. So that's exciting. Um, and yeah, I'm super excited to see the back half of this campaign. Some of my favorites of Carcosa are definitely in this back half. So let's get to it.
All right. Yeah, so Return to Circle Undone is not with me, so go check out that on SuperFang's channel, as well as I think you right now are having Fortune Folly up, right?
Correct. Yeah, that was a fun time. I very much stumbled my way through it, but it did come out very well.
Very cool. If you've played it, go watch it. I haven't watched it yet because I have not played that scenario yet. So, all right, let's talk about one that we both have played quite a few times,
Yep.
and that would be A Phantom Truth. I do have to note, do you remember the time when this was like the one out of print Mythos pack for like ever?
Yes, yes. And I believe the reason was there was a lot of really good player cards in this Mythos pack. Is that correct?
Sure. That seems right.
I, f- I feel like I want to remember that being the case. I could be wrong, but I will look that up while we start introing this scenario.
Sure. I just remember that this was like going for like 60, 70 bucks on eBay. And it was just to fill up people's collection. They had everything but this one. And you could not, under the old system, play through the whole campaign without, one of the middle scenarios. So thank goodness that we have our uh, new delivery model, although it is quite a few months in between any new content. So looking for Hemlock Dale to come out at the beginning of next year, 2024.
Yep, I believe that's correct. And yeah, I just double checked. So I may be incorrect about the whole very good cards in this Mythos pack. It did have ancient archaic those guiding stones though, so perhaps one of the more powerful cards in this game. Um,
Yeah, if you didn't have an upgrade for your archaic glyphs, then, you kind of wanted this pack, right? Okay, so this is a special scenario, but before you even get to play the scenario, the campaign guide, this is the new campaign guide, by the way, has a little bit of fun with you at the beginning.
yeah. So you're having a dream as you are making your way into Paris to pick up the trail on your investigations, and there's a whole mess that you need to read. It even tells you not to get lost.
Hmm.
Um, so I don't think we're gonna go everything because it's just gonna take way too long. But ultimately, the things that happen is one, you get a new weakness, which is lost soul.
Hmm.
And then you are going through a little bit of some reactions to things you have done. So, for example, if the if the police are suspicious of you, aka you stole from the lighting box in the first scenario and then you went to the police afterwards, you take a mental trauma. There's your reaction.
Wait, I thought you get the paranoia.
Oh, is that what that is? Hold on.
Yeah.
Sarah Dream 7. That's what that is. Sorry. There's something else. That's right. You get a mental trauma if you slay the people.
Yeah,
That's right.
slay the monsters at the dinner party, you get a mental
See,
trauma.
even I don't know actually exactly what goes on here. It's so confusing. Um so yeah, there's a few things there. There's also a check for how many chasing the stranger tally marks you have. Um if this is in Dream 8, if you have 3 or fewer, basically nothing happens if I'm correct. Yes.
Sure, yeah.
And then if you have 4 or more, you get to either get conviction or doubt. Is that right?
Yeah, that's it. All you do is add conviction or doubt.
Yes.
It's hard to read
Um,
this. Like it's all over the place, right?
it is indeed. It's out of order, which is the very weird part about it. Oh, actually, hold on. One more thing I should note. If you read Dream 5, it's impossible to get to Dream 5. And it tells you to go back to Dream 1, which is really funny.
Yeah, because it's right at the top of the page, so you read it and you're like, well, is that Dream One? This isn't Dream One. I love it.
Yeah.
If you play this game and use the Arkham Cards app, they tell you right in the app, don't follow this part. Go pull out the sheet and read it because the experience is way better.
Awesome.
Okay,
All
Lost
right.
Soul.
Yes, so everyone is going to get a copy of Lost Soul. It is a madness, which does matter for some other cards. But notably, it reacts to whether or not you have more doubt or conviction, or the other way around. Um, so if you have more or indeed equal, because that's just the tiebreaker, doubt to the conviction, then you're testing intellect, and the difficulty of the test is equal to your willpower. Vice versa, if you're have more conviction than doubt, you're testing willpower, the difficulty of the test being intellect, and regardless, if you fail, you take 2 damage.
Hmm.
So this was a very interesting card. There were a lot of I don't know about the meta of this campaign, um, but a lot of what I know is I know a lot of investigators, and I'm like, okay, we're going on a doubt run. I want to take these investigators because they're better at testing their book against their low brain versus the other way around. Like, do you take this card into account at all, or
I've
what do you think?
never thought about it. The only thing I've thought about, and this is a preview for an upcoming video, or maybe a video that already came out, but you can attach this to the Eye of Truth and throw this
Wow.
into the victory display, and then everyone else who draws it gets +4.
That is true. One of the few weaknesses that is also an encounter card.
Yeah, there's not, I don't think any other weaknesses that have a test on it, except for maybe, I think Kate Winthrop has one now.
And also no. Wait, wasn't there someone? It might have been someone new like Kate Winthrop. I think you're right. Yeah, totally.
But I think that, because it's in your deck and there's a way to automatically pull it out, it's a little annoying. But otherwise,
Yep.
this doesn't bother me too much.
Yeah, I don't think so either. It definitely is a turn clock in case you're getting low on damage, but usually that's not the issue with this campaign. Usually it's the horror. So
That's right.
this kind of just puts more pressure on damage. We get to talk to, or we didn't. We get to get info from Jordan, and we get 3 additional resources if we talk to Jordan in the Last King, which is very, very good.
It's great. I love talking to Jordan. And then you start at a different
Alrighty.
location, which I honestly, I've
Oh,
never decided if that means anything, but it tells you to do it,
yeah, it's kind of weird. Sometimes I want to start in the original location,
which I think
dare
is
to
here.
say.
Yeah.
Yeah. So normally, so if you have Jordan's information, you start at Montparnasse, which
Hmm.
is interesting. So yeah, I guess we'll see what the difference is when we get to locations.
Yep. We are in Paris, so this is a really cool scenario where you have a couple of different impact choices sorry, not choices, but things that happen based on your doubt or conviction here too. So it's not just the lost soul; it's a little different, but we have different encounter cards and different acts.
Indeed. So if you have more or equal doubt to the conviction, you're getting these copies of Black Star's Rise and False Lead, aka you're removing. That's what they tell you to remove the other ones. So I'm just gonna say you add these ones. You add Black Star's Rise and False Lead, and you get version 1 of the act. And then if you have more conviction than doubt, you get Twin Suns and Hunting Shadow, and you get version 2. Um, so I actually never thought about this until very recently that because these encounter cards, False Lead and Hunting Shadow, are the ones from Midnight Masks. And
Mm-hmm.
they show up a couple times. They showed up already in the third scenario. Is that right? No.
I, I think so. I think they're in Echoes of the Past.
Yeah, I think so. And obviously they've already shown up in Dunwich at some point. Um, this is literally thematically perfect. I can't believe that it took me this long to realize this because in Doubt and the Conviction, this is the one where you're chasing him,
Mm-hmm.
correct? Yes. And so you would have a false lead when you're trying to find him. And then in version 2, when you have more conviction than doubt, you are running away from him, which is he is the hunting shadow,
Mm-hmm.
which is amazing.
I don't think I've ever thought about this. The only thing I ever thought about was that it was interesting that they split up the two from Midnight Masks, and now I can see why they did it that way. That's so cool.
Super cool. Anyway, so yes, to summarize the two differences, if you have more doubt the conviction, you're going to be chasing the organist. I believe he comes out draped in mystery, which is not the side. So basically, he's going to be running away from you at the end of the enemy phase. If the organist is unengaged, move it 1 location away from the nearest investigator. So he is running away, and your job is to attack the organist a bunch of times. And by attacking him, put clues on him, and you need 3 per clues to advance. And you need to do it for the agenda flips, obviously.
Yes.
However, in the other version, you have more conviction than doubt, you are running away from the organist. So he is going to be chasing you. He has hunter in this special text where he basically moves again from his hunter keyword every round. Notably, if he moves twice, then he doesn't attack. But if he only moves once, he still attacks. Um, so you are going to be running away from him. You have a way to spend clues to kind of do some stuff because you need to survive and actually outlast all three agendas. Because, importantly, the doom on the agendas changes whether or not you have more conviction than doubt. And this is like the really mind bending thing about the scenario. Because doom on the agenda, if you have more doubt than conviction, then this is the same thing. But if you have more conviction than doubt, doom on other cards counts negative towards the doom on the agenda because those cards are actually stopping your progress, whereas the agenda advancing is actually positive progress for the investigators. It's a very weird scenario.
Yeah, it's really something you have to pay attention to. A lot of cards that you've seen before even start to do something a little different. So that's kind of neat. And that's actually
Mm-hmm.
worth pointing out that the Twin Suns and the Black Stars Rise encounters cards are basically the same thing, except for they you either put Doom on the agenda, so this is in the Doubt version,
Yep.
or in this one we remove Doom from the current agenda, or
Which I don't want to remove the doom in this one.
you don't. Yeah. Wouldn't it be funny if it was remove one Doom for each point you failed by?
4 turns off.
Yeah, I didn't zoom in on this one about how you get the clues onto the organist. Yeah, you have to attack the organist, which basically means
Mm-hmm.
you have to engage him and then attack.
Yes,
Or,
because he is aloof.
but anyone can spend their clues, which is really nice. You don't have to spend
Correct.
your own.
As long as that you're at their location as well.
Hmm. And you can only do it player times per round.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you have a not necessarily a preference, but like one that you've done more often, the doubt or conviction runs?
That is a good question. I think uh, actually I can't remember. I feel like in my head of heads, I do the conviction one more often. Um, I think that's mostly because at the end of the previous scenario, the uh unspeakable oath. Wait,
Hmm.
that is the name of the scenario, right?
Hmm.
um, I just heeded Daniel's warning, right? And so that usually tips me onto the side of having more conviction than doubt, and so that mostly makes me on this side. Um, but obviously, sometimes if you're going for the doubt run, then you'll be on the other side. But yeah, it's kind of it's. I think it leans more towards conviction for me. But yeah, what do you think?
I rarely just sort of do random things in terms of the choices. So I usually just either I'm all in on conviction or I'm all in on doubt. And I've been on a doubt run for like 3 in a row now. So I've been playing this one a lot, and I quite enjoy this version of it. This one, the one where you're running away from him, feels a
Yeah,
little. Um, it drags a bit because of the doom.
sure.
I don't know what your experience has been. I do like the normal doom clock just because you're it can add a little bit of pressure. You're like, okay, we got to get this done in time, and you feel like you're, as we'll see in a minute, doing some other things too on the board. But this one has felt like it's not as challenging, maybe.
It's interesting, yeah, because I feel like the doubt run, it feels very similar to Curse of the Rougarou, if I may.
Yeah, it is.
Because you are chasing the Rougarou around, hitting them. You can only hit them a certain amount of time. Um, it is very proactive in that sense. So I agree that it's more difficult because you need to weigh. Okay, we need to attack him, but by doing so, we need to get clues, and those people with clues need to be at the location of the organist and the to engage and not miss a 3 fight attack, which is not terrible, but um whereas this one is very like you're playing like a tower defense game
Hmm.
where you're like we just need to survive and any clues that we get can just you know automatically evade the organist or advance us more towards our goal, and so you have to resource manage the clues that you spend. um
That
and
is
so I
true.
feel like it's easier, yes, but I feel like I also like this one more personally.
Hmm.
Um, but that's my opinion.
Yeah, I like them both. I do find them both to be actually somewhat easy compared to a lot of the other scenarios in this campaign,
Mm-hmm.
because getting the clues is good, and getting the clues in this scenario is not that hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's but it's a good like just classic Arkham scenario of get clues, move around the board, fight some enemies off. And I understand that after the last scenario, there's some investigators who are playing this one who might be running at 0 XP.
Indeed.
So I don't mind they gave us a little bit of a reprieve. It's a fun scenario. It's very thematic in terms of the Paris location. So maybe we should talk about that.
Yeah, let's do it. So there's a couple of setup stuff where there's two versions of each of the three up here: Upper Garnier, Montmartre, and Le Marais.
Hmm.
Um, so let's talk about those, I guess.
Sure.
So Upper Garnier, they both have Big Shroud and Big and one per clues. They basically both have a way for you to overcome the shroud. Otherwise, it's not very interesting.
Hmm. Yeah. So last time I played this campaign, I was playing as Calvin. So I didn't have this version, which is hilarious, but I had this one, which was totally fine.
Okay, that's so funny.
Yeah, I'm always looking for those little like, what would Calvin do here?
Yeah. No, I mean this is also tough for Diana since you only get +1 willpower basically if you're
Oh
investigating
gosh,
with willpower,
you're right.
which is hilarious. All
Okay.
right, we have two versions of Montmartre. Oh Jesus. So one of them, actually, both of them are actually good. So this one you can add ammo to cards, which is fantastic. I've done that a lot.
More supplies.
Or supplies, indeed. Put it on your what's a good supply?
Fingerprint
Chainsaw,
kit.
fingerprint. There you go.
Chainsaw. Sure, sure.
Yes. Okay, and then this one is your reveal top card. You have played an asset revealed by its effect under your control. What? Hold on.
Yeah, yeah. It's like Bob.
Oh, so it's like a
Black market.
black market. Thank you. I literally was about to say underworld market, and I'm like, Jesus Christ. Yes. So it's like black market. That's interesting.
Ahead of its
Cool.
time. Yeah, I think that's
Yeah,
cool.
that's a cool card. All right, and lastly, Le Marais. I believe both of these are bad. No, one of them is good. Le Marais. The custodian is here. It seems. um, so yeah, extra cards is always good. And then this Le Marais is very bad. It actually it well, okay, I shouldn't say that. It sucks in both versions, but it definitely sucks when you're like, oh, I need to run away from the organist. Oh God, I have to stay here. Um, or if you're like, oh, we have one round to chase the organist. Oh God, we have to go. We have to go through here.
Yeah.
So it is a thing.
You got to
It's tough,
stop and watch the fountain do its thing, right?
indeed.
Or that scary night gaunt in the sky. Or Byaki, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. Okay, let's keep going, I guess.
Sure.
So we have Le Grand Guignol. It's a victory location, very nice. And it's an effect when you reveal it, only happens once. Honestly, that effect to you're not even wheeling, you're shuffling, which is pretty nice. So I actually sometimes just take the shuffle. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Victory point over the corner, but you like the way I've played this one is you just kind of go around the map and you'll get everywhere eventually.
Indeed. And honestly, I kind of go around multiple times sometimes,
Hmm.
especially if you're going on the conviction route.
Yeah, for sure.
Canal Saint Martin. 4 shard, one per. After you evade, you can move, which is very nice.
Move that enemy.
I'll move that enemy. Correct.
Still cool.
I always forget that.
All right. Then we have,
And Père Lachaise. That's right.
this is a good one.
Yeah. Honestly, this location is very cool. It's a good it's like good mechanically wise because it's like kind of perfect back and forth. When you successfully investigate, you can't leave because you have to stay there. Um, but it's so juicy, all the victory for one shroud. It's very nice.
Just bring your lantern here. No problem.
No problem. All right, and then we get to the base of Paris. So let's start with Gare d'Orsay, which is technically where you start normally.
Hmm.
Um, so you can spend a resource to move to any rail location, which is all of these 5 in this circle, or all of these 6, in fact.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
I don't think I have done this more than like once.
I've done it a couple times because it's nice because I think that for me it actually depends on what version of Le Marais you have
Mm.
because if you have the bad one then moving straight there is kind of like okay, well, I can't leave anyway. But if you're going the doubt run then you can like zip over and then attack him. um So there's some ways to use that, but it is, it's a resource.
I always wondered
Um,
why it was that you could only get on the train here and not like anywhere else.
right. Yeah, because I think it's because like this is the hub or whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a train station. That's what that means.
Indeed.
But yeah,
Also, fun fact. I don't know if you've ever have you been ever been to Paris?
I have.
Yeah. So I love how this is Gare d'Orsay, which if you don't know in the present time, there is a Musée d'Orsay because they put a museum in the old train station because that museum used to be in a train station.
Hmm.
Um, which is cool because we're in the 1920s, so
That's right.
appropriate.
Good museum if you haven't been.
It's very nice. All right, we are going to Montparnasse. This is where you would start if you had Jordan's information. You can discard cards and gain money.
Hmm.
I guess
Yeah, I mean,
it's fast.
it is. I guess that's cool if you have like guts level 2.
True. Uh, so does a
Probably should
wild
save
icon
it.
count towards this?
Yeah, it does. It does.
Yeah. So you can discard a. Actually, you know what? I was gonna say promise of power because that's for resources, but inquiring mind honestly might even be good enough. Okay, let's go to Notre Dame. So every enemy here gets -1 fight and +1 evade. Um, I think it's. I wonder. I always forget. What's the thematic purpose for this? Because there's something, and I always forget.
Are they climbing up like the side of the cathedral? I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah. Anyway, you can do a big test and either place a doom or remove a doom, which I love that you can make that choice. So you could technically make the wrong choice, which is hilarious. Um, just to troll people.
And if you
But willpower
fail,
success is a lot.
if you fail, you can't do it again. Sorry.
Correct. Does not say equivalent at one success,
Mhm.
sadly. All right, and lastly we have the Gardens of Luxembourg. When a Byakhee enemy is moving, everything is connected to the gardens, so they will come here. But it's good victory.
I like this location. I think that's really cool for the pressure of the game.
Indeed. Yep.
Cool.
All
Okay.
right. That's those locations.
Now, there's another thing that I think is unforgettable about this particular scenario, and it's one of the encounter cards in the special set. So, hey, let's go over those. First
Yeah.
off, there's Frozen in Fear. It's
Yeah.
such a great card. They had to print it again.
Got a reprint. Yeah. So far we've had Frozen in Fear in this card set as a reprint. We had the Rotting Remains in the Blood on the Altar.
Hmm.
So now we need a Dissonant Voices somewhere
Oh
to
gosh.
complete the set.
Yeah. Okay.
Um.
But this is the card.
All right. Torturous Chords. Here we go.
Yep.
So I have a funny story. So as I said at the start of this, I am filming my Return to the Circle Undone playthrough right now. And have you played the Return to for Circle Undone?
I have.
So do you know of a card called Maligned?
Oh yes.
So this is Maligned, except it's actually not as bad as Maligned. Because Maligned increases the cost of every card you play, no matter what. And you have to take an action to test this. Torturous Chords, you test willpower 5, so it only affects at maximum the next 5 cards you play, but more likely it's like the next 2 or 3 cards. So I'm actually okay with Torturous Chords. What is your opinion?
It's okay if you have one, and then when you get a second one, it's bad. It's real
Okay,
bad.
fair enough. If you have 2 copies of Torturous Chords, which there are 3 of them, so it's definitely possible.
Hmm.
And Return to CU, there are 2 copies of Maligned, if I'm not unsure. And I did have one person with 2 copies of Maligned, and that was hell also. But yes, if you have more than one of these in your threat area, it's pretty bad.
I mean, do you really want to play emergency cash to gain like 1 or 2 resources that you have to pay one for, basically?
Yep.
It's awful. I
Pretty
think
bad.
it's a cool card. I like that it's here. I like that there's um, a tough willpower test that you do need to do willpower tests in this campaign a lot. So
Hmm.
if you're bringing Winifred or someone, you need to think about it.
Yep.
What's your answer for this? Is it throwing it to someone else? Yes, that's the answer.
Throwing it somewhere else, warding it.
Hmm.
Definitely throw it to someone else. It's kind of like you're getting them. You're getting +1 skill value because you get a resource from it.
That's right.
Um,
The funny part about it is that it is a terror, so you can just get rid of it with logical reasoning, which is a great
correct.
card in this. I think maybe
Yep.
it came out in this one.
Yes, it actually did. Level 0 logical reasoning came out in this Mythos pack.
Perfect. Of course, you can just play Alter Fate and get rid of it too without having to uh, go with the spending extra resources. So, well, no, I guess you still have to spend one resource if it's yours. Yeah,
Correct.
or two. I guess it's
Or
costs
two, I
one.
guess.
Yeah, level
Yes.
3 costs one. Anyway, so like there are ways to get rid of it, or you just wait it out, and that part really sucks
It can.
because if you have no like think about how much worse it is than say you lose 3 resources period, right? If
Hmm.
you auto fail this or something else awful, it's not that you lose the number of resources you have, you lose like the next 3 or 4 or 5 resources you will ever get.
Yeah. So basically, because a lot of times when you lose resources from an effect of a card, you might not have all of them. So if you lose three, you're like, oh, I only have two, so I only lost two. Um, but yeah, this one is like for sure you're going to lose these resources no matter what.
Yeah.
Um,
Now combine that with the Elder Thing token in this particular scenario.
oh yeah, is that a resource for each point you fail by?
Uh huh.
I have had that combo happen to me. You
Yeah.
draw it on Torturous Chords.
Me too. It'll happen.
It'll happen.
Ultimately, like it's still fine. Like there's a lot of ways to get resources in this particular scenario, right? We saw Montparnasse. There's the
Yep,
3 extra from Jordan.
that's right.
So it's not. It's honestly not that bad. You can do.
Yeah,
You can deal with this, but it is notable.
indeed.
Anyway, Deadly Fate. There's 3 of these. More
Hmm.
willpower tests. This one is like really soft.
Yeah, I generally say so. And also, like, if if you are a fighter, then this is probably just an enemy, or it's just one instance of an attack. For if you're a fighter, you probably have enough soak to deal with it. And if you're not a fighter, just eat the attack and then you're done.
Then we have a couple of stealthy Byakis, and they have a cool thing where if you exhaust them, then they are easier to fight.
Yep. Honestly, I like the design. It gives advantage to like evading characters. Um, I mean Rita does well with this Byaki since it only has 2 health as well. Um, yeah, I like the design. It's cool.
Yeah, and again, there's lots of Byakis in this set, so makes sense.
Mhm.
Okay, more Byakis.
More Byakis, yeah. The Byakis have come back.
So
So we've already seen these. Where did we see these?
we
Wait,
have
have you seen these yet?
no.
Oh, this is the first time. Wow. So yeah, the Swift Byaki, it has I was about to say it has the the organist effect, but it's not. It moves directly to its prey, right?
Yes, I've missed that before, where I was like, oh, it just moves twice, but no, it moves is until.
Yeah. That being said, since it doesn't spawn anywhere, I literally just immediately kill it, and I feel like it rarely occurs, but it could.
Yeah, it should be pretty easy. I think it's just like if you get bogged down by a few enemies at once, you might say, let's just worry about this guy later.
Yeah,
But you're right, it's 2 fight, like not a big deal.
not a big
Retaliate
deal.
is just annoying, but you shouldn't fail, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, more Byakis.
Or Byakis, and this is the first time we've had this effect. I think, which is the test a huge number and you reveal cards from the encounter deck, and you just check the ones that were revealed to see if any of them have the right traits.
You must be playing the
Um,
Circle Undone.
indeed, yeah. Um, so yeah, if you see a Byaki in the cards you revealed, you have to draw them, and if you see an Omen, you take a horror.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to the other one, right? Where you take
Yep,
a horror if there's no enemies left in the discard pile,
yep.
or in the
Um,
encounter deck rather. Yeah, I
right.
like having a big a test for throw a take heart to this,
Take
and
card.
you know
That's
you'll get your resources and cards.
that's pretty nice. Rabbit's Foot 3. You can search pretty deep.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I like these cards because like yes, it means you are going to fail most likely. Um, I guess like Kaimani and Winifred could pass this obviously.
Hmm.
Um, but like it means you're going to fail, so it's kind of just the luck of the draw and what pops out. But also, ultimately, what this card is it's an enemy and maybe one more horror. Also has the chance of doing nothing. So you're kind of spinning some wheels there, which is not bad.
Yeah, it's pretty soft, I think.
Yep.
Okay, and that's it for the new stuff. We'll
Yes.
just look at the other Byakis that are in the set. So we've got the Screeching Byaki, which is some nice victory, but
Mm-hmm.
otherwise just more that these other cards could find.
Yep.
And then he
The
was
yellow
being paired with the
sign.
yellow sign, and this time you
Hey,
will have a madness weakness.
indeed, a brand new one. Unless you somehow drew it off the first turn, which does happen.
That's true.
That is
Yeah,
true.
so you have, because it's only such through your deck. So you
Right.
could take 2 horror and 2 damage if you fail this and then fail the other test. But
That is true.
having some saving throws is pretty good. So,
Hmm.
all right, the Doom.
Yeah. All right, it's fire. So yes, I think that so this one shows up here, and then the last time it shows up, I believe, is in Black Stars Rise. Correct.
That's correct.
So in this scenario, because of the Doom on the agenda, if you're going conviction, no matter what, this is bad because it will cause you to run out of time in the doubt version,
Hmm.
and it will cause you to have to wait longer in the conviction version.
Yeah,
Right.
2 extra
Yep.
rounds, like unless you can get rid of it.
Yep. Um. So yeah, it's a little annoying. I will say that the shrouds on these locations aren't terrible. Gare d'Orsay and Canal Saint Martin are bad, but the rest of them are fairly okay. As opposed to when this showed up in Curtain Call, where there was a couple of like 5 shroud locations that they could show up in.
Hmm.
Um, that being said, this is the one time where you're like, okay, we were about to advance, and now we're not, and we're not going to advance in 2 rounds. I'm talking about the conviction round. Um, that this kind of just needs to happen.
Yeah, I think in the doubt one, it's just you run out of time, and I mean, it's not that hard a scenario in my experience,
Hmm.
but you this can really speed things up if you're just gonna say, forget it, I can't get rid of that.
Yep.
So yeah, whereas before we said, hey, curtain call, you could let the clock um, go over and over again, or at least you had another way of resetting the agenda by
Yeah.
killing the uh, Beast of Alderaan. This time, you can't ignore this
Right.
as so easily anyway.
Yep. Yeah, and it's tricky, especially for the the conviction route, because there isn't really a concept of the witching hour in
Yeah,
that version.
that's true. Yeah.
That being said, like, it doesn't prevent it from advancing. So you can put more doom via like the act ability
Hmm.
to make it advance. Like if you were at 5 of 6 and now there is 2 out of 6, you put one on, you go back to 4. It is annoying though. Um,
So the
yeah.
conviction route really is about like, can you survive? And these encounter cards are just trying to spawn enemies over and over again.
Hmm.
And then there's a few other ways to take damage in horror. In your experience, like how hard is it to survive?
So I've found that it's generally okay because the flow of what I usually do is as long as someone is able to gather, or sorry, I should say, as long as everyone is able to gather 1 per clues in a round, then all you need to do is just be 2 spaces away from the organist, and then next round you'll evade the organist and then move on your way. The issues become when you're running out of clues and when things like the spires of Carcosa pop up in weird locations, high shroud locations that you need to like chase down.
Hmm.
Um, or like that, or you have someone evade the organist over and over again, and that's their job for the rest of their life. Um, so,
All right. The other version of this is discarding cards from your hand. There's going to be an absurd amount of doom in play on the
yep,
conviction route, huh?
indeed, there can be. Um, Obviously, this doesn't. It is bad. It gets way worse in Black Stars Rise.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay, and then finally, to round things out, we have got the Pale Mass Beckons. So just,
Yep.
we've seen this one before. And then Mark by the Sign, I don't think is any worse than before, although the map is pretty big, so chasing this guy can be a problem.
Yep.
But it's a good time to like try to rack up more tallies on the Chasing the Stranger if you haven't done it already.
That's true. Especially if you're surviving,
Hmm.
you can kind of just like run around a bunch of times and maybe get him a couple. I've actually gotten him like 2 times because he's like popped out naturally. I killed him, and then this card has occurred, so he pops out again, which is nice.
I got him 3 times, I think, last time I played because he was in Harvey's deck, and
Wow.
yeah,
Oh God, yeah.
he just keeps showing up.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay, that's it for the encounter cards. We have the scenario reference card. Skulls can be -5. That's definitely possible on the
Definitely
conviction route.
possible.
Yep.
Yep. All right.
So these come into play because of what you did at the end of the last one, right? So you're most
Correct.
likely going to get the elder things because that was the
Escaped.
escaping.
The investigators escaped. Yes, and that's right, and that's why it usually pops up. So you get cultists if the king claimed its victims, which that is if everyone died, I believe.
And you have new investigators to start this one. Okay, full party wipe.
Full party wipe. Um, so what is that? If you fail, move your unengaged Byakuya and play once towards. So that rarely happens.
Yeah.
So it's a little penance. Um, and then resolution 2 is you stole the keys, I believe. Yes, the investigators were attacked as they escaped the asylum. Cancel the effects and icons of each skill card committed to the test. No.
That's bad.
Yeah. At least it's only skill cards, but I mean those are the bad ones. So
Hmm.
that's bad.
Don't steal the keys, kids.
Don't steal the keys. Yeah, they steal your deductions back
Wow. And
or your all ins.
usually that's kind of a thing where they would say it's a -1 and then cancel the effects and icons. -3
Yeah,
on top of that is
yeah,
rough.
yeah. I assume that's because it only said skill cards. If it said each card committed to this test, then you're like, okay,
Yeah. But
yeah,
even so, the skill cards are, your Winifred or Amanda or something.
that's right.
Okay.
All right. Well, that's the tokens. Should we talk about resolutions?
Yeah.
So resolutions. First of all, nothing was reached. You get the elder things. So we'll talk about that in the next scenario. Resolution 1 is if you are going down. Yes. Right.
Yeah, because you
Oh, actually,
found.
oh, that's right. Right. This doesn't matter. Um, resolution 1 is just you didn't intrude on a secret meeting, and resolution 2 is if you intruded on a secret meeting. How do you get resolution 3? Wait,
Wait, are you sure?
wait. I'm confused.
R2 or R1, and this one is also the same. Okay. R3 is if you doom out? Yes.
Oh, that's right. Okay, if you doom out and you have more. Oh wait, sorry, but that is the wait. Yeah, yeah, and that's
Doubt.
the doubt version. Right.
Okay.
Okay, I see. I understand. So, if in the conviction version, if you if you went wait no, I'm getting really confused. Hold on.
Okay. So in the conviction version or the doubt version, if you uh, intrude on a secret meeting, which is also kind of a doubt version, but that doesn't really matter. So either one, you go
Right.
to R2 if you had done that, or
Yes.
R1 if you didn't.
Right. Sorry. And then if you doom out specifically in doubt, that
Yes.
is bad. And so you go to R3, which is a bad resolution.
Yep. You are unable to
Okay.
find Nigel.
Got it. Anyway, the important bit is that if you intruded on a secret meeting, you get this very, very, very cool resolution. I think one of the coolest resolutions ever. This one like really spooked me. Um, you like go in and uh,
You
the
talk to
stranger
Nigel?
shows up. Oh, you talk to Nigel. That's right.
Yeah.
But like the whole time, also you come back and he's been dead the whole time.
Well, he
It's
goes
really cool.
off to like get something for you, and he walks away to his kitchen, um, or something like that. And
Yeah,
then you go in, and then there's no. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
Two
you're right.
additional experience.
You're right. There is a bit with his about the stranger, right? Yeah,
I think so.
at the beginning.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
But yeah, you get you like wait a few minutes, and then you go in, and then he's like hanging from the ceiling fan, and it
yep,
looks like he's been there for weeks, and that's creepy.
yeah.
Mental trauma and 2 XP.
2 XP for your troubles. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, I like this. I mean, this is the first resolution that I ever got. Like the as in my blind playthrough we got to hear.
Oh, okay.
So that was really cool.
No, I didn't do this until I started doing the doubt run,
Oh,
so I didn't know about that. And it's really cool.
yeah.
Okay.
All right. I do think that's everything.
I think so. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to mention about like how the scenario usually goes for you. It's not honestly, like I said before, it's not that hard.
Yeah. Oh
Um,
yeah. Also, Jordan Perry shows up.
oh right, yeah.
Forgot that.
He can come after the one of the agenda flips, right?
After this second night.
Okay. So towards the end.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, right. After, okay, this is another thing to talk about. After you flip all the agendas, or at least the first two anyway,
Oh yeah.
you have this weird thing where you get to move away from the enemies that you're
Mhm.
engaged with, and then you have to move the organist either away from or towards.
No, it's always
It's always away,
away.
always away.
Yeah. So for the it hampers the doubt one and it helps the conviction run.
Yeah. This one is strange just because I guess I'm bad at reading or understanding Arkham language sometimes, but when it says away from the nearest investigator, like
Yeah.
what happens if he's cornered? Like if you're
Yeah.
here, does he go
So I
like
believe that they clarified this in the FAQ that what has to happen is his distance from an investigator has to increase strictly. And so if it cannot increase, then just nothing happens.
that he doesn't move at all?
Yes.
So if let's say you're both right here
Mhm.
and then you move, or sorry, you're here and he's here.
Yeah.
So he wouldn't move.
Correct. Because this is not strictly increasing. The distance is still one. All right.
What else? Probably nothing else. We can go talk about some rankings then.
Yeah, I think that's it.
All right, we've got replayability to talk about first, and there's two versions, so that's
Yes.
something, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I think that like while each version mostly plays out the same, the fact that there are two versions is really cool. Um, I think that adds something. That being said, as I just said, I think that most times each version individually plays out mostly the same. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with that. It's totally fine. You got those other locations, but I don't think they impact um the replayability much. You're just kind of, they're there for variety rather than
Yeah.
really changing much.
Maybe with one exception. I think that depending on what version of Le Marais you get, that does affect a lot of things for me.
That is true. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But that's just a small note. So yeah, I think that given that there are two versions of the scenario, I'll give it a 2.5. There is that variability in what version, what setup it is to begin with, but ultimately they play mostly the same.
Yeah, I'll give it a 3.
Okay.
All right, we'll go to the next one, which is fairness. I think
Yeah, this is
this
an interesting
one,
question.
yeah, this one has a lot of player agency, I think.
Yes. I agree. A lot of it because of the fact that one in the doubt run, it is all based on chasing him. There's a lot of strategy that is player driven. Um, Rather than being like, okay, we just have to kind of do whatever. You can plan and be like, okay, he's gonna move here next turn. So someone stand over there so that he moves here next turn so that the fighter can engage them next turn, etc. Um, so I think definitely in the doubt run, it is really really cool and has a lot of ways for the investigators to make meaningful decisions.
Yeah,
Um,
and even the spawning of other enemies can be mitigated, right? So the two encounter cards that spawn extra Byakis, you can,
mhm,
pass the test,
Yep,
ward it.
that's right. So as for the conviction version, I honestly think that it's also kind of fair because the ways that the meaningful decisions are like how do we get two locations away from the organist and how can we get enough clues to be able to evade him or advance the doom. I think that like I think it's weird because I think that Spires of Carcosa specifically punishes the conviction route more than the doubt route. Um, at least that's just me personally. I don't know. What do you think? Like, I feel like it's like there's just like the inkling of unfairness in the conviction route because of Spires of Carcosa. What do you think?
Okay, so there's how many victory point locations on the map? Like three?
There are one, two, three, four.
Four. Okay. So I guess we didn't mention this before, but basically the way I've played this scenario on the doubt run, you just go for the clues.
Yeah,
And then you save a certain number of rounds to the end where you can spend
just
your
like
clues.
pummel him.
Right.
Yeah.
You just run around, get the clues, let him go wherever he wants, and then you'll corner him for the last 4 or 5 rounds, whatever it is.
Yes.
The conviction version is not quite that friendly, like
Hmm.
because you are being hunted, so you do need to get the clues. So I think you do have plenty of time to deal with uh, the spires of Carcosa. Like you just kind of go after it, and you're probably going away from that location already.
Yeah.
I agree that like it's probably a little bit more unfair on that version because it's giving you more time you have to survive, and that can be a little painful. Whereas the other one, you don't like. I feel like most teams, if they didn't get wiped out in the previous scenario, are fine in the doubt run. Like they're just trying to get all the victory points, and then they're ready to go.
Indeed. Okay, so with that in mind, I think for fairness, I'll give it a 4. I think there's definitely a lot of things that are player driven that this scenario allows them to do.
Okay. I agree with that completely. It's a 4 for me as well. I do feel like this one could put a little bit more pressure on you if you are prepared for this one, but
Hmm.
I like the Doom mechanics to at least do something interesting there. Oh, we
Yeah,
didn't talk
I think.
about your favorite interaction with the Silver Twilight Acolyte, right?
Oh yes, yeah, fun times. So yes, if you're going to conviction, Silver Twilight Acolyte, the weakness enemy from the core set, its attack says after it attacks you. Is that right? Um,
Yes, yes, after.
place a doom on the current agenda. This can cause it to advance.
No,
Is that
it
right?
just places
No,
on
it
the
does not.
just place.
Yeah. Which is hilarious in the conviction route because you're not placing it on other cards, you're placing it on the agenda, which is what you want. And so what I did was I had it attack a guard dog, so it killed itself while also saving me 2 turns. It was awesome.
That's how you mitigate the random elements of the game.
Indeed. Do something random.
do
Like
something do something
with a
silly.
random weakness. Yes.
All right. I think this is a pretty fair sorry, not fair. A pretty good scenario in terms of anyone can help out. I don't think there's a particularly other than the spires issue that we've talked about
Yep.
before. You can investigate, you can attack any way that you want. You don't have
Hmm.
to fight with using your like a basic fight or something against the organist. So I think it's pretty you know good there too. Like you just need to have someone with clues as an FBU.
Yep. I also think that it actually opens up a lot of evade strategies.
Hmm.
Obviously, evading the organist and the conviction route kind of breaks the whole scenario. Um, so I would say that if anything, it's kind of imbalanced in that sense. But that would only be the case if that was the only way to win. Because you can totally still just keep running around as fighter and clover and survive. It's not like evading the organist is the only way to do it.
I'm glad
So
that Trish got tabooed to not being able to evade.
evade non-elites.
Yeah,
Yeah, or I should say, not being able to evade elites.
right. Because
Um,
yeah, it's
yep,
basically a
that
little broken when you can just evade with getting a clue, a single clue.
definitely, definitely. Um, so I mean, this is like Rita's favorite scenario because she can evade and then move away. It's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's great for that reason. But at
Yep,
least she's not like doing something extra. I think, right?
exactly, exactly. Um, and so yeah, I think that honestly, this is very very fair. Oh, sorry, I should say very balanced. Um,
I love big
so
maps too. Like you can do stuff with makeshift trap. Like you could probably do
oh
something
yeah,
with lure if you really wanted to for some reason.
oh wow,
Like
yeah,
it's
that is true.
unnecessary, but like if you wanted to see how that stuff works, you can do it.
That's true.
Barricade?
Um, is that elite or non-elite enemies,
It's not
or is it
elite,
both?
but I mean,
It's not elite.
yeah, but still.
Yeah. It's still it's pretty cool. So yeah, I think I'll give it a I'm you know what? Okay, I'll give it a 4.5. I forgot that
Oh,
Spires of
okay,
Kirkos exists.
okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, all right,
Yeah.
fair enough.
Yeah.
Let's go
Because
with
also I will admit it's not a 5 because torture's chords can really punish a lot of some investigators. Um I'm specifically thinking about event-based investigators like Parallel Agnes or Nat Cho because they play more cards than normal.
yes. You are right. I was gonna say Safina, but she does have 4 willpower, but
That's true.
it still can be tough. Like an auto fail on that test
Yeah.
really wrecks the rest of your day. Okay, I'm gonna give it a 4 then.
Okay.
Yeah, that I mean, it's I don't have a problem with the card. It's just they need to make agility tests just as nasty as the willpower ones.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, um, experience. Do you like Paris? Do you like running around Paris?
So I think that overall, the experience of this one is very cool because of the fact that there are these two versions, and because it ties into the doubt and conviction mechanic so well. Um, I think that the aesthetic of being in the doubt version, you having to chase them down, is really cool. Whereas the conviction one, they are chasing you, the organist. I mean,
Hmm.
um, it really lends itself into that like when you're conviction, you're like, yeah, this guy's coming to get me. This is all happening for real. He's gonna kill me. Whereas the doubt one, you're chasing him and you're like, is this guy actually bad? Why are we chasing him? Like, why am I doing this? And so it leans into those emotions very well. That being said, I do think some of the locations aren't like perfectly thematic. Because like sometimes you're like, okay, I can't leave this fountain, for example, and I don't know why. Um, and like for some reason in Montmartre you can get bullets, I guess, and I'm like, sure, okay. I don't know why at the opera it's very high shroud, but there's a better way to investigate it. I don't know. I don't know what that is.
I don't know either. Good point.
So like I do think that there are some missing marks there, but overall as an experience, I think it's good. Um,
This
but
one,
yeah, just lacking on the details.
I think this one, uh, on replays, which is kind of strange since replayability is fairly high. I think the experience itself pales a little bit because it is, I don't know, I feel like it goes on a little bit too long.
Mm.
The loop itself is fine, and it is kind of fun Arkham where you can do whatever you want, but it's it's one where you just kind of get through it and you're like, okay, we just need to do this a
Yeah,
few more times.
I agree. I think especially in the conviction route, it doesn't feel like each day means anything. It just feels like, okay, I guess it's the second day, so let's just do it all again. Um, I think it would be much more interesting if, like, on the second day or on the third day, like, for example, the organist got like, harder to deal with, but there's less doom, so you don't have to wait as long, right? That would be an interesting way to ramp up the tension. But especially in the conviction route, the tension kind of just stays flat the whole time and doesn't really climax like it would in the previous scenario.
Right.
Um, so yeah,
Yeah, I agree with that. So this one is based, should say this, it's based on a short story by Robert Chambers called In the Court of the Dragon or something like that. I've not read it, but the
yep,
whole thing with the organist is not like made up for this game.
right.
And have you read it before?
I have not.
So maybe like the fiction here it's trying to evoke is perfect, and there's some stuff that I'm missing having not read the story, but um, otherwise I think it's like fine. I don't think there's anything like horribly off with it.
Right.
I do just it needs to escalate a little bit. Like it's interesting that the skulls here are tied to Doom, which happens again later in the campaign, but
Hmm.
the skulls usually are at the end of the scenario they're harder, right?
Yep.
And that's not necessarily the case at all.
No, it like goes up, but then back down, then up again, but then back down. It doesn't go up the whole time.
Yeah, that's probably the problem here. Is like it has kind of a roller coaster um, of the threat of the scenario rather than it escalating throughout the entirety of the experience, reaching some kind of a climax.
Yep. So yeah, I think overall I'm gonna give it a 3.5. As I said, I like the overall mechanical tie-in with the doubt and conviction. I love the whole two versions of this, but I do think it's lacking on some details, and it doesn't really have that excellent of pacing that perhaps the previous scenario had.
Hmm. Yeah, like I like big maps. I think they're a lot of fun, but I don't feel like I'm in Paris.
Hmm.
Uh, the art, I guess, helps, but I'm not really sure that other than just running around a bunch of places that it doesn't really matter as much. Like I wish there was something more with the locations that
Yeah.
would help say, oh yeah, you're in the this area or something, or the
Right.
certain quarter of the city means something different, so you could plan some strategy around that. I agree if there's the one location where you don't want to enter because you can't leave. but I think they could play around with that a little bit more.
Yeah, I think that the one location that they did do it right is Gare d'Orsay, where you can get on a train and move throughout. That really evokes the, Paris train system. But otherwise than that, it's kind of lacking.
Mm-hmm. I'm thinking about like Edge of the Earth a little bit, which also has big maps, and
Mhm.
how, especially at the beginning, they did a good job of making you choose directions of which way you wanted to go. Um, I mean, it wasn't always perfect, but there were some locations with effects on it that really made you say, maybe not that way. We'll go around the other way instead.
Right.
So, that's just some helpful criticism that I think they could improve a little bit with the locations for this one.
Hmm.
Okay. Any last thoughts about a Phantom of Truth?
I mean, I think that we've basically said all there is to say. There's not much. It's kind of weird because there are two versions of the scenario, but in each, there's like not a lot going on. But in its simplicity, it does have good moments. So, yeah.
Have you ever lost this one?
No, I have never lost. Have you?
Yes, once.
Oh.
Uh, Good story. I mean, it was three-player, and my Bob Jenkins decided it was a good time to draw his greed when he
Ah.
ran out of resources because, well,
Oh
we
God.
talked about that already, and he took however many horror that was and died, even though he had Karen's Obel. That was the end of the end of the campaign for poor old Bob.
Oh no.
Unfortunate demise. And then the other two investigators got bodied with the Byaku's. So um, we had it was one of them was brand new because they had died. I think it was a Mark Harrigan died in the asylum. So it was a level zero, I think a Kachi deck,
Hmm.
and couldn't quite keep up with only two investigators on the board at that point.
Interesting.
Yeah, that was the only time. I mean, it's a pretty easy scenario otherwise, but if
Yeah.
things kind of conspire against you, then yeah. All right, that's my story for this one. We're going to talk about the
Nice.
return to in just a sec. So hang on for that. All right, here is the return to, and there's some new locations and
Yes.
not a whole lot
So
of other differences.
so these three are the old ones that are replacements. Alternates, I should say.
Hmm.
So now a bunch of the other ones also have alternates. The everything except Gareth, I guess.
Got to take the train.
Yeah, gotta take the train. All right, let's talk about Montparnasse. Its alternate. One shard, one per. Force after you discover any number of clues from Montparnasse, discard cards from your hand with that many willpower icons among them if you cannot take a horror.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay, one horror though, so just like discover all of them in one action. That sounds good.
Discard cards from your hand with it. That's true. Yeah, so it's just one willpower per clue. Okay, it's not the worst thing in the world.
Hmm.
All right. Guardians of Luxembourg then. To show one per. After you enter, if there's at least a Byaku enemy in play, reveal a bad token, and they all ready and move to the gardens.
I love it.
That's cool. That's a
That
lot of fun.
that's very cool.
I also like that because you don't know which one this is. It could either be this one or this one, and so you're like, oh yeah, we'll just walk in. And they're like, oh god, they're all coming here. Um,
So this is a cool thing, like I was just saying about the locations. Like this is something that makes you decide which direction you're going to go. You're not just like having a romp around Paris. This is like, maybe I don't want to go that way yet.
right.
Let's get rid of the Byaku's first, or maybe you do want them here. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Notre Dame. It's the other way. So each enemy in Notre Dame gets +1 fight and -1 evade. Um, and if you successfully evade an enemy at Notre Dame by 3 or more during your turn, you may take an additional action this turn. Kaimani loves this.
That's great. That is so much fun.
Yeah. I guess if you are doing that, then they get -1
Minus one
evade.
evade, yeah.
So yeah, it's
Okay,
easier to do that. Okay, yeah, let's go to Père Lachaise.
sure.
So whatever. 2 shard, 2 per. Force after an enemy moves into Père Lachaise, it gets +1 horror value for the remainder of the round.
Hmm.
So when it hunts there.
So the
So I mean,
conviction one is kind of tough.
yeah, in the conviction, that's 4 horror. That's bad.
Hmm. This is two shroud? The other one was one?
Yes, because that had the you can't leave after you investigate.
Okay. So this one's a little harder, but no other penalty. Okay.
Yep. Canal Saint Martin.
Oh, I
To
love
show
this
one
one.
per.
This is
Oh
so
yeah,
cool.
this was the fun one. You must use your combat in place of your agility and vice versa. That's
The vice versa
that's
part
fun.
is got me once. I was like, oh
Yep.
crap.
Yep. You have to fight with your agility.
Hmm.
That's so funny. However, evading here obviously is surely a lot better for your fighters. So
Yeah, it's cool. I like it.
yep. You can lock picks with your fist.
Yes. Okay.
You can what else? Is there you can ethereal form with your fist, right?
Yes.
That adds your
You
foot.
you not only can you must.
You must. You can blur with your fist. Anyway,
All right.
um finally Grand Guignol. 5 shroud. Ooh, one per. As an action, spend 5 resources, place a doom, or remove a doom.
So it's
I
like the one
guess
that was down here for the old
yeah.
version.
Yeah. It is testless, but you have to spend 5 resources, which is a lot. Um although that is one crack the case at this location, so
Ooh.
maybe it's okay.
All right. That's it, I guess, right?
Yeah. That is it. All right. The next thing is on the thing, there's a new effect. After the organist enters play, shuffle both set copies of Figure in the Shadows into the encounter deck along with the encounter discard pile. And there are 2 of them. Revelation, if you have more or equal doubt the conviction, move the organist 1 location away from you. In conviction, you resolve its hunter's keyword. So basically just you basically get another enemy face for the organist, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's fine. I actually don't think I've ever seen this card. I don't know why.
Hmm. Did you
Like
forget to shuffle it
maybe that's
in?
honestly possible. Um,
I
but
don't.
yeah,
It doesn't do much in larger player groups because like moving the guy away or towards you
yeah.
is
Also,
fine.
and also, like for me, when I'm in the conviction round, usually during the mythos phase, he is engaged with someone so that we can evade him with the clues later on.
Right. Right.
Um, and so the hunter keyword does nothing.
Hmm.
So
Well,
yeah,
that's why you don't remember it.
that's probably why I don't remember. And yeah, ultimately, this does resolve an enemy phase, but notably, it doesn't resolve the organist attack if it's on conviction route. So
That's right.
you're not in danger of getting attacked by the organist, at least.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Well.
And then we have some return to God damn this baby,
Yeah.
especially with the organist. That's 4 horror from the organist,
And maybe 5.
maybe 5 in Père Lachaise. That's so bad.
Okay, so our victory point is gone because
Yes.
I think it's because of this scenario that they said, look, there weren't enough Byakis. There was once you killed these screeching ones and they went to the victory display,
Yeah.
there wasn't a replacement in the encounter deck, and every time you
Yeah.
kind of shuffle through because of the encounter card that makes you just discard things, there
Hmm.
just weren't enough of these guys around. So um, I get it. I want the victory point, but I I understand why they needed to have more Byakis actually to be
Yeah.
to get.
I yeah, I understand the decision. It's just a little sad.
It is, yeah. And this guy's not hard to deal with really, but the 2 damage and a horror if you have to deal with them in an attack is not great. But
Yeah. This is a good example of this card being scaling with the scenario because at the beginning of the scenario, most likely your fighter is going to be able to deal with that 2 fight pretty easily. But by the end, it's possible that the investigator has 4 sanity or fewer remaining. So
right, that's
it'll
the
be
thing
5
with
fight instead.
the old version, right? It had the same, well, not the same, but had something similar. It was +1 fight, +1 evade. If you had sanity 4, probably.
More or less. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
But you just kill them early and then you don't get them
They
again.
never show up.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
So,
It's
but
good.
I want my victory point. They could have put like
Yeah.
extra victory points somewhere else. I don't know.
That's true. Like maybe victory point on Notre Dame or Gyarados. I don't know.
How about when you flip the agenda? It gains
Just 1 victory point.
victory point 1.
Yes. Victory 1/2.
All right. Does this fix anything that was broken?
I don't think there was much that was broken.
Yeah,
So not really.
not really. I think it's fine. Like I like the extra locations.
Yeah.
Sign of Haster is
Can
tough,
go die.
but yeah. Oh, this is a good example of the sign of Haster showing up here after you've uh uh dared not say his name, right?
Yes, exactly. Yes. Good example.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think that
Yeah.
happens with any other encounter cards
Well,
until later.
true. Although the encounter set for these cards in the base game is called Agents of Haster.
That's right.
So that is also a thing.
Okay, okay, fair enough. Okay, I enjoy playing this one because I enjoy playing Arkham, but it's not a standout in the entirety of the campaign.
Yeah.
You know which
I
one
think that
is?
it's tough because it comes out right after Unspeakable Oath, which is such a banger of scenario, and it also comes before the Pallid Mask,
Yep.
which is my personal favorite, and so it's kind of in the dip.
Yeah, it's true. And like I said before, it's probably to get you some XP going before you
Yeah.
get to the last few scenarios of the campaign. But it's fine. It's
Hmm.
definitely playable. There's nothing that's bad here, so it's kind of a good time to like try to see if you can make your deck do everything that it can.
Yep.
Even like the conviction route where you have extra rounds, sometimes that's just going to let you go through your deck and find all your cool toys.
Yeah.
So, all right, I think that's about it for this one. We'll see you next time for the Pallid Mask.